On a Florida canal bank, a young woman's body is found.
For a person to commit this type of murder, you have to believe that they do not have a conscience.
At Miami Airport, a heavily disguised woman boards a plane to London, and a 12-year international manhunt begins.
She's very bright, she's very skilled, cunning, furtive, and highly dangerous.
The suspect, a shadowy criminal with dozens of identities, a woman known as the Chameleon.
It's a game to her, but now she knows we're chasing her. She's just waving in your face. She knows that she's got you. She's one step ahead of you.
Tonight, in search of the Chameleon. Thursday, July 19th, 1990. The body of a young woman is found by the side of a canal in St. Lucie County, Florida.
2954 on A9, 2001 Chevy. It says
Veteran crime scene specialist Sergeant Dave Brooks has never seen such a crime.
The call came in through 911. That fisherman had found what he believed was a body on a canal bank.
20-25.
This body was gone beyond the killing. It was an overkill. I've been a deputy sheriff for 21 years in St. Lucie County, and that's the first time I've seen a body in that condition.
For the person who committed this crime, because of the brutality, you would think that this person would not hesitate to kill again.
The body on the canal bank is identified as Beverly McGowan, a 34-year-old bank teller from Pompano Beach.
In July of 1990, Beverly McGowan placed an ad in the Sun-Sentinel paper in Fort Lauderdale for a roommate. Within a few days, she had met this individual whom she called Alice. Alice was from England, worked for IBM, and was on a temporary duty assignment over here. Beverly talked about how excited she was that Alice was going to live with her.
Over the weekend of the 14th and 15th of July, Beverly McGowan and Alice meet for the first time.
Within a few days, Alice is able to gain Beverly's confidence through the use of numerology. Alice gets her date of birth, her social security number, every personal number, and pretty much inhabits most of Beverly's life.
Armed with Beverly's social security and bank account numbers, Alice now has the means to take over Beverly's identity. She can become Beverly McGowan.
When she met with Beverly, she played on some type of vulnerabilities, but that's actually one of the great characteristics of a con artist, is being able to recognize what your vulnerability is and be able to play on it and win your confidence.
Steve McGowan can only guess why his sister is taken in so quickly by Alice.
In her early 20s, she was had 2 or 3 serious boyfriends, but she always seemed to break them off when they became too close. And in her later years, I had heard that there's a possibility that she had looked at being bisexual. Maybe one thing she was really looking for love, too.
Barbara Kerwin is a forensic psychologist who helps police understand the complex minds of criminals.
She's an excellent con artist. She's a consummate psychologist. She knows her victims. It's almost as if she can read through them like a pane of glass. This occult numerology is an excellent and a very easy way to get the information she needs: social security numbers, birth dates, other pertinent, specific information that is essential for her to assume this person's identity.
Within days, Alice prepares a numerology chart for Beverly, predicting dramatic changes in her life.
The numerology was what was convincing Bev to travel, that she's going to meet a new person in her life, that this was the best thing for her right now. I mean, Alice took Bev away from her friends and kind of got her into her own little web there. A friend of mine came into town on Sunday, and I had called her to come up to see him also. And she told me she was busy with this person, Alice.
But when he puts down the phone, Steve has no idea he will never speak to his sister again.
There was nothing to lead me to believe that there was anything wrong. And there was, in fact, it was just the opposite. It seemed to be that, you know, this was going to be the person that was going to be able to help her for a while. And she seemed to be legitimately happy.
When we come back, the Chameleon plays single white female with fatal consequences. For 34-year-old Beverly McGowan, life is finally getting on track. A good job at the Glendale Federal Bank, her own condo, and a new roommate who seems to offer the promise of a brighter future.
I had not made my mind up totally about the roommate. I wanted to meet the roommate when they first got there and just make sure that my sister was okay.
On July 17th, Beverly McGowan goes to work, and she's still excited about Alice and the prospect of having a new roommate. And that was her last day at work.
It will turn out to be the last day of her life. On Tuesday evening, Beverly makes a routine phone call to a friend. That is the last time anyone hears from the real Beverly McGowan.
On July 18th, an individual calling herself Beverly McGowan calls in sick to work, and unfortunately, nobody ever sees Beverly McGowan again.
Thursday, July 19th. Steve McGowan receives a letter from Beverly. It's 5 days since they last spoke, and the letter contents are alarming.
I just want to say goodbye to you and the kids and let you know that what I'm doing is the right thing. This is what I need at this point in my life, so don't worry. When I come back, I'll be a much better and happier person. Goodbye, Bev.
When I saw the letter, I was very disturbed by it. For her to leave didn't make any sense. And then once I was reading the letter, and I get down the bottom and I see that goodbye, I said there was something wrong. I can show you 100 letters from her to different people that not one of them said any more than Bev. I think that there was somebody there when she was writing my letter. She was trying to tell me something at that point.
I believe Beverly wrote the letters because Alice had convinced her to go with her wherever, and that she would give her a better life, or she would show her how to have a better life.
Of course, I called Bev and I couldn't get a hold of her. So my next course of steps was, let's go down and see if there was anything wrong in her condo. The cats were gone and the answering machine was gone. And I noticed that her gun was missing.
What Steve does next, he hopes, will help his sister.
I figured if she doesn't have her credit cards, she can't travel. I called up and canceled her credit cards, thinking this was the right thing to do.
Thursday, 7 p.m. 100 miles north of Pompano Beach, just as Steve arrives at his sister's apartment, Sergeant Dave Brooks is called to the side of a canal in St. Lucie County, where a woman's body has been found.
This is where the body was found. The body was located right in here.
2954 on A9.
And the normal identifiers that you would use most commonly to identify another person wasn't present. The face, the hands for fingerprints. So we were going to have to rely on science to identify this body that was found here in St. Lucie County.
The killer has worked hard to make identification impossible, even removing a tattoo from the victim's stomach. But there was one other tattoo that the killer missed.
The way that she was originally identified by name was because of the presence of a yellow rose tattoo on her right ankle.
Fred Hoban, Chief Medical Examiner for St. Lucie County.
The local television companies broadcast her description with this yellow rose tattoo mentioned.
About 10 o'clock at night, the phone rings and it's a friend of Beth's. And she just explained to me that she said, they found a body in the St. Lucie County canal, and it has a yellow tattoo of a rose on its ankle. And my first reaction was of course, that was Bev.
A few teeth were left, and this enabled us to identify the body to a certainty.
But investigators couldn't understand why Beverly McGowan was killed.
There are some victims that, because of their lifestyle, they take a chance and they are a high risk of becoming a victim of a homicide. Beverly didn't fit any of those kind of parameters. Her lifestyle was not remarkable. She wasn't rich. There was not anything to say that Beverly McGowan would end up being discarded on a canal bank as being an unidentifiable body.
One of the first questions you ask yourself as a detective on a homicide case is, who benefits from this murder? Most of the time, there's a financial benefit. In this particular case, nobody really benefited financially from Beverly's death.
Then a major break. Detectives discover that someone has been using Beverly's credit cards, a person who doesn't match the description of Beverly McGowan. And at the time they were used, Beverly was already dead.
Her credit cards had been used at a JCPenney, a Pizzazz, and at a Foot Locker, and I believe a bookstore.
And her roommate Alice was missing.
We have a description of a white female with blonde hair, very attractive, and large breasts. So this is somebody else who has obtained her credit cards, and they are utilizing these credit cards.
2 days later, Beverly's cards are used again.
July 20th, Beverly McGowan's credit card was used as a travel agency in North Miami Beach. The individual using that credit card was described as a man dressed as a woman wearing a cheap Cleopatra-type wig. The person said they already had a reservation to fly to London on July 22nd, and they also wanted to inquire about further car reservations.
The police now wonder if Beverly's killer has an accomplice, or if she is an expert at disguising herself.
There was nothing normal about this investigation from the get-go. When this all started happening, the identification, the credit cards, and everything started happening pretty fast, and it seemed like we were just a step or two behind the killers.
The credit cards tell police their suspect had a reservation for an Avis car rental at London's Heathrow Airport.
Now, law enforcement has to deal with not only leaving the jurisdiction of the state of Florida, but leaving the jurisdiction of the United States, and we have to go through certain protocol and request assistance from the London Metropolitan Police.
Coming up next, the trail leads to London, and police lay a trap for the mysterious woman calling herself Alice.